Today, we're going to break down a really powerful way of looking at modern capitalism. It comes from the work of Muhammad Raj Abdullah, and it's a story, a parable really, about lions, rabbits, and something called the hunt.
So let's just dive right in with this opening line from a character in the story, Dr. Raja King. In a single sentence, he completely reframes our economic system. It's not just a market, he's saying, it's an ecosystem with a very clear food chain.
In this entire idea, this whole critique, it all unfolds in a conversation between this professor, Dr. King, and his student. It's a really simple setup for a pretty profound and honestly challenging idea about the world we think we know.
Okay, so the parable kicks off with a story you've probably heard a million times. People come to the West looking for safety, for a better life, for prosperity. They think they're walking into a system that's fair and open, but the argument here is that from the second they arrive, they have no idea they've just been cast in a very, very specific role.
And that right there, that's the central metaphor, the hunt. So, in this view, society isn't some level playing field, it's a forest. And our economic lives, well, they become this constant struggle for survival, defined by one simple relationship, the predator and the prey.
All right, so if we're in a forest and there's a hunt going on, let's define the key players. Who exactly are the predators, and who are the prey in this capitalist wilderness?
And this breaks it down so clearly. On one side, you have the lions. They're the capitalists, the owners of the system, the predators. And on the other side, you've got the rabbits. They are the workers, the ones chasing a dream, the prey.
So what does it feel like to be a rabbit in this system? Well, according to the story, it means you show up looking for a better life. You work incredibly hard. You run fast, you dig, you hurry. But all of that intense effort ultimately is just about one thing: survival.
And this is where the power dynamic gets really, really skewed. See, the lions, they don't just participate in the hunt. They control the whole environment. They own the feeding grounds. And what that means is the rules are always tipped in their favor, making sure they always get what they want.
Okay, so this all sounds pretty metaphorical, right? Lions, rabbits, a forest. But how does this hunt actually play out in the real world? This next part uses some really concrete examples from the source to break down how the system actually works.
Now here's a really important thing to get. This hunt isn't violent in the way you might think. It's way more subtle than that. It's a system that extracts things from you, your time, your health, your wealth, but it's all disguised as a golden opportunity.
I mean, let's just take something super basic, something we all need: a place to live. How can something so fundamental like a home get twisted into a tool that's used in this hunt? The parable points directly at the housing market as the perfect example.
Get this. 40 years. That's how long a mortgage could last, according to the text. In this view, that's not just a loan, is it? It's basically a life sentence, a commitment you serve just to have a roof over your head.
And the price you pay isn't just in dollars and cents. The argument here is that what you're really trading for that box of bricks is your best years, your youth, your health, and your peace of mind. It's decades spent running on a treadmill, often at the expense of everything else.
And hey, if you think renting gets you out of it, well, that's just another part of the trap. The source brings up rent that's over $2,000 for just a tiny one-bedroom apartment, a price that, according to Dr. King, just turns another basic need into another feeding ground.
And this quote, wow, it just hits the nail on the head. It perfectly sums up the core argument. The weapon of choice in this hunt isn't a bullet, it's a bill. It's that relentless economic pressure, the interest, the rent, the debt, that just quietly, systematically kills off our dreams.
So, this all brings up a huge psychological question, right? If the system is so predatory, if the game is so rigged, why do so many people not only participate, but do it with so much enthusiasm?
And this, according to Dr. King, is the real tragedy of it all. The rabbits, they start to admire the lions. They internalize their values, they copy their behavior, and they spend their entire lives trying to become lions themselves, never quite realizing that they're playing a game that was literally designed for them to lose.
And what you end up with is this endless, self-perpetuating cycle. New workers, the new rabbits, show up full of hope, they run themselves ragged, working as hard as they can until they're just drained. And when they finally slow down, they're just quietly pushed aside, replaced by the next wave of hopefuls. The system never misses a beat. The hunt just goes on and on.
Okay, so that's all pretty bleak, but the story doesn't just leave us there in despair. It also asks, is there a way out? Is there a path forward to break this cycle?
And this is where the student, Zakir, asks the one question that changes the whole conversation. Is there any hope at all?
And the professor's answer is so clear. He says hope isn't about individual rabbits getting smarter or faster and somehow becoming lions. No, that just keeps the hunt going. The only real hope is to change the forest itself.
So how in the world do you change an entire forest? Well, the idea is that it happens through collective action. It happens when the rabbits finally come together, when they understand their own worth, and when they simply refuse to be exploited any longer. The goal isn't to win the hunt, it's to end it, and to build something totally new, based on things like fairness, compassion, and dignity.
And that's where this whole parable leaves us. It's not just a story, it's a choice. It puts the responsibility for what comes next right on our shoulders. Will we let the world stay a hunting ground, or will we work together to finally make it a home for everyone?